शान्तिः शञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियञ्च मे नुकामश्च मे कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रञ्च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे द्रविणञ्च मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वञ्च मे महश्च मे संविश्च मे ज्ञात्रञ्च मे सोश्च मे प्रसोश्च मे सीरञ्च मे लयश्च मरुतञ्च मे मृतञ्च मे यक्ष्मञ्च मे नामयश्च मे जीवातुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वञ्च मे नमित्रञ्च मे भयञ्च मे सुगञ्च मे शयनञ्च मे सूषा च मे सुदिनञ्च मे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु
पार्वती तनया विघ्न विनाशका पार्वती तनया विघ्न विनाशका पार्वती तनया विघ्न विनाशका विघ्न विनाशका मंगलदा मंगलदायक देवा मंगलदायक देवा जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश सिंधुरवदना प्रथम वंदना सिंधुरवदना प्रथम वंदना सिंधुरवदना प्रथम वंदना सिंधुरवदना प्रथम वंदना अलख निरंजना मूषिका अलख जय गणेश 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 जय पार्वती तनया विघ्न विनाशका विघ्न विनाशका मंगलदायक देवा मंगलदायक देवा जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश सिंधुरवदना प्रथम वंदना सिंधुरवदना प्रथम वंदना अलख निरंजना मूषिकवाहना अलख निरंजना मूषिकवाहना पाशाकुशधरा शम्भो नन्दना पाशाकुशधरा शम्भो नन्दना मंगलदायक देवा मंगलदायक देवा जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश जय पार्वती तनया विघ्न विनाशका दया करो कृपा करो परतेश्वर साई देवा 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 जन्म जन्म तुम साथ रहो 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 साईनाथ महादेवा दया करो कृपा करो परमेश्वर साई देवा जन्म जन्म तुम साथ रहो जन्म जन्म तुम साथ रहो साईनाथ महादेवा साईनाथ महादेवा दया करो कृपा करो परमेश्वर साई देवा करो कृपा करो परमेश्वर साई देवा शिरीश्वर साई देवा परमेश्वर साई देवा शिरीश्वर दया करो कृपा करो परमेश्वर साई देवा
Om Shri Sai Ram, offering our collective pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai. Respected elders, esteemed guests, and all brothers and sisters, and everyone watching us live, Sai Ram, and a very good evening to all. Today, we welcome our guests who are with us, Shri Govind M. Karjol, Honorable Member of Parliament Lok Sabha, and Shri N.H. Shivashankar Reddy, former member of Karnataka Legislative Assembly from Gauri-Bidanur constituency. On the 8th day of Navaratri, the Divine Mother is revered in the form of Mahagauri. She is worshipped as the embodiment of purity and serenity. She symbolizes Sattva Guna, representing harmony and balance. Known for granting enlightenment to spiritual seekers, she is depicted with 4 arms, holding a trident and a drum. Ma Mahagauri reflects the inner beauty and purity in all living beings. We shall begin this evening's proceedings with Vedic invocation by the girl students pursuing the Vedic studies program, and they shall be chanting verses from the Kathopanishad.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः।
बभूव कश्चित् अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे अणोरणीयान् महतो महीयान् आत्मास्य जन्तो निहितो गुहायाम् तमक्रतुः पश्यति वीतशोको धातुः प्रसादान् महिमानमात्मनः नायमात्मा प्रवचनेन लभ्यो न मेधया न बहुना श्रुतेन यमेवैष वृणते तेन लभ्यस्तस्यैष आत्मा विवृणते तनूगुस्वाम् उत्तिष्ठत जाग्रत प्राप्य वरा निबोधत शूरस्य धारा निशिता दुरत्यया दुर्गं पतस्तत् कवयो वदन्ति यदा सर्वे प्रमुच्यन्ते कामायेस्य हृदि श्रिताः अथ मर्त्यो मृतो भवत्यत्र ब्रह्म समश्नुते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु।
As part of Navaratri Homa, Lakshmi Narsimha Homa and Gayatri Homas were performed. Mother Gayatri embodies the essence of the Vedas and represents the Gayatri Mantra, promoting spiritual enlightenment and well-being. Lord Narasimha, the fourth incarnation of Vishnu, brings courage and inner peace. In the early hours of the morning, the goat or pot symbolizing goddess Durga was installed, marking the Navapatrika ritual, which venerates 9 sacred plants tied to the white Aparajita plant along with a small banana sapling. After the ceremonial bath, this was placed to the right of Lord Ganesha's idol. The Kalparambha ritual followed. Devi Durga was also honored through Chakhudanam, representing her protective and guiding nature. Kumari Puja was also performed to little girls as a representation of the Divine Mother. Today also marked day 2 of the Maharudra Yajna, concluding with Purnavuti and Ashtavadhana Seva to Chaturveda Parayana, Nadaswaram and Yakshagana. This morning, we also had 2 esteemed guests, Shri Basavaraj Patil Sedam, former Member of Parliament in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha from Karnataka, and Dr. Ashwath Narayan, former Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka. Both of them extended Navaratri greetings and shared their happiness for being here on this occasion. Sadguru, in his discourse, emphasized the omnipresence of divinity, noting that all individuals embody the divine. He highlighted the importance of upholding our culture and pride in Sanathana Dharma for spiritual growth. Through Trikarana Shuddhi, aligning thought, word, and action, we can purify ourselves and deepen our connection with the divine. The Bhakti movement demonstrated that devotion can spread spiritual knowledge, ensuring everyone has access to God. Embracing our cultural heritage, we must keep the spiritual path open and accessible to all, enabling everyone to embark on their journey towards liberation. Sanatana Vani is an online radio platform promoting Sanatana Dharma and its spiritual truths through music, Vedic teachings and talk shows in multiple languages. Saundarya Lahari, a 100-verse stotra by Sri Adi Shankaracharya, celebrates the glory of Sri Lalita Tripura Sundari and the divine union of Shiva Shakti. On this auspicious day of Durgashtami, we are delighted to announce the launch of a new podcast series, Saundarya Lahari Nada Jnana Sudha. May we invite on stage Dr. Keshav Prasad ji, Dr. Meenakshi Ravi ji, and from Sanatan Vani, Mrs. Sri Lakshmi Bhatt and Mr. Sai Kiran. Sri Keshav Prasad is an IT specialist with a corporate experience for over 26 years and has worked across the globe. He was initiated into Saundarya Lahari, chanting at the tender age of 3 by his mother. With the divine blessings of Mother Goddess Lalita Parameshwari, the presiding deity of Saundarya Lahari, he started working on this profound text's detailed treatise. His studies span more than a decade and he has been conducted many workshops in delivering discourses on Saundarya Lahari. New episodes will be released on Wednesdays and Saturdays, with the first two now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Additional supporting study material on Saundarya Lahari is available for each shloka on the Premamrutham Prakashana website. We also have another release. Dr. Meenakshi Ravi has composed Ashtottara Shatanama Vali on Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, which will be blessed today. Joining her on stage is her husband, Vidwan N.G. Ravi ji. Vidushi Dr. Meenakshi Ravi is a renowned Carnatic musician, music therapist, and a scholar based in Bengaluru. Dr. Meenakshi holds a master's degree in Carnatic music, a master's degree in social work, and a doctorate from Bangalore University. Her academic pursuits have been driven by a deep-rooted passion for integrating music with social welfare. In 2002, she founded the Meera Center for Music Therapy, Education and Research under the Manola Cine Trust, pioneering in the field of music therapy in India. Notably, the Saundarya Lahari has been one of the most prescribed and impactful hymns in her music therapy practice. May we now invite our guest, Sri Govind Karjol ji, to address all of us. Sri Karjol ji has also formerly served as the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka and has held several other portfolios such as social work, public health and irrigation. Sri Govind Karjol.
ಇಂದಿನ ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾನ್ನಿಧ್ಯವನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪರಮಪೂಜ್ಯ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸಾಹಿ ಗುರುಗಳ ಪಾದಗಳಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕರಿಸಿ, ಇಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕೃಷಿ ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಿವಶಂಕರ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿಯವರೇ, ಮಾನ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀ ನರಸಿಂಹಮೂರ್ತಿಯವರೇ, ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯ ತಾಯಂದಿರೇ, ಯುವಕ ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, ಗುರು ಹಿರಿಯರೇ, ದಸರಾ ಸಂಭ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಗುರುಗಳ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಪಡೀಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ವಿ. ನಾನು ಕಳೆದ ಸುಮಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಗುರುಗಳ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೇನೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅನೇಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಾ ಕಂಡಂತೆ ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳು ಶಿವನ ಸ್ವರೂಪಿಗಳಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಶಿವನ ಸ್ವರೂಪಿಗಳಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ? ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ನೊಂದಿದಾರೋ, ಯಾರು ಅನಾಥರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೋ, ಯಾರು ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟ ಕಡೆ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಇವತ್ತು ತುಳಿತಕ್ಕೊಳಗಾದರೋ ಅಂತಹ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನು ಗುರುತಿಸಿ ತಂದು ಇವತ್ತು ವಿದ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನೀಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಮತ್ತು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅನ್ನದಾಸೋಹವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಇದು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾದ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ದಿನಮಾನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣವೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರೀಕರಣ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಲಾಭದಾಯಕ ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಅನೇಕರು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ಪೈಪೋಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದರ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳು ಯಾವ ಗ್ರಾಮಾಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಕೂಲು ಕಾಲೇಜುಗಳ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಗಳು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಓದಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಕರೋನಾದಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನಾಥರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ದೇವದಾಸಿಯರ ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಇಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ ಗುರುತಿಸಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ವರವಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀಗಳವರು. ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಕಳಕಳಿ ಕಾಳಜಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಹೃದಯದಿಂದ ಬರಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಅಂತಃಕರಣ ಹೃದಯದಿಂದ ಬರಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಮಾತೃ ಹೃದಯದಿಂದ ಬರಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗೇ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳಿಗೆ ಶಿವನ ಸ್ವರೂಪಿಗಳಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾತನ್ನು ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಇದು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯರ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ತಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಂಥ ಒಂದು ಊರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಲೋವರ್ KGಗೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ 5 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತಲೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಡೊನೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಕ್ಷರದಾಸೋಹ, ಅನ್ನದಾಸೋಹ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತು ಸಹಜವಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಹೊಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಯಸಿದಾರೆ ಗುರುಗಳು ಅಂಥೇಳಿ. ಕೃಷಿಯಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ರೈತರು ಹಿಂದೆ ಸರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕೃಷಿಯನ್ನು ಅಲಕ್ಷ್ಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಡಿಪ್ಲೊಮಾ ಕೋರ್ಸನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದಂಥ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ರೂಪಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆಂಧ್ರ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬರು ದಾನಿಗಳು ಒಂದು 500 ಎಕರೆಯಷ್ಟು ಜಮೀನು ನೀಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಮಾಡಿ ರೈತರಿಗೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಸಣ್ಣ ರೈತರಿಗೆ, ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸಿಗೆ, ಎತ್ತುಗಳು ಕಟ್ಟೋ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಷಿನರಿಯಿಂದ ಉಳುಮೆ ಮಾಡೋ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟವಾದಂಥದ್ದು, ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಸರ್ಕಾರವೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡದೇ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಕೃಷಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹಿಸ್ಬೇಕಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳು ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. ಭಾಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯಿತು. ನಾನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸಮಯ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಗುರುಗಳ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವ್ರ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನೇ ಕೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವ್ರ ಪ್ರವಚನಗಳನ್ನೇ ಕೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸಮಯ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದೇ ಇವತ್ತು ನವರಾತ್ರಿ ಉತ್ಸವ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು, ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು ಅನೇಕ ಹಮ್ಮಿಕೊಂಡದ್ದನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯಿತು. ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ವಿನಂತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾಡಿನ ಜನ ನೆಮ್ಮದಿಯಿಂದ ಬದುಕುವ ಹಾಗೆ ತಾವು ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥಿಸಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Shri Kajol ji began by expressing his happiness, and he feels blessed to be here today. He exclaimed that Sadguru is verily the personification of Lord Shiva himself. This is because today Sadguru is a boon and blessing to humanity, since he has embraced all those who are downtrodden and is providing them with all that is required, particularly through education, healthcare, and other initiatives. Thank you, sir. May we now invite Shri N.H. Shivashankar Reddy to address all of us. Shri Shivashankar Reddy ji has also served as Minister for Agriculture and Deputy Speaker of Legislative Assembly, Government of Karnataka.
ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭದ ದಿವ್ಯ ಸಾನ್ನಿಧ್ಯವನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪರಮಪೂಜ್ಯ ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸಾಯಿಯವರ ಪಾದಗಳಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕರಿಸಿ, ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಹಲವಾರು ಹಿತವಚನಗಳನ್ನು ಹಂಚಿಕೊಂಡಂಥ, ಮಾತನಾಡಿದಂಥ ಲೋಕಸಭಾ ಸದಸ್ಯರು, ಮಾಜಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾರಜೋಳ ಅವರೇ, ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಳ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಪಾತ್ರವನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನರಸಿಂಹಮೂರ್ತಿಯವರೇ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸದ್ಭಕ್ತರೇ, ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳೇ, ಬಹುಶಃ ಕಳೆದ ಹಲವಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಅನೇಕ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತಮ ಶಾಲೆಗಳನ್ನು, ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ತೆರೆದು ಬಹುಪಾಲು ನನಗೆ ಇರೋ ಮಾತಿ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಸುಮಾರು 20 ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಿಂದ ಶಾಲೆಗಳನ್ನು ತೆರೆದು ಬಡ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಒಂದು ಸಾಧನೆಯನ್ನು ಮಧುಸೂದನ್ ಸಾಯಿಯವರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬಡವರಿಗೆ ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಚಿಕಿತ್ಸೆ ನೀಡುವಂಥ ಉತ್ತಮ ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಚಿಕ್ಕಬಳ್ಳಾಪುರ ಅಲ್ಲದೇ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶದ ಅನೇಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗಳನ್ನು, ಶಾಲೆಗಳನ್ನು ತೆರೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಒಂದು ಸುದೈವ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಉತ್ತಮ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ, ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟದ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ನಾವು ಲೋಪಗಳನ್ನು ಕಾಣ್ತೀವಿ. ಆದರೆ ಅಂಥ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಗುರುತಿಸಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನೀಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಿಜವಾಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದೊಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸೇವೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೂಡ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತು ನವರಾತ್ರಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಆಚರಣೆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಭಕ್ತಾದಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂಜಾ ಪುನಸ್ಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ಅವರು ಮನಸ್ಸು ಸಂತೋಷ ಪಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶವನ್ನು ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಗಳು ಕಲ್ಪಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮಿಗಿಲಾಗಿ ಮನಃಶಾಂತಿ ಭಾಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಯಾವುದೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಐಶ್ವರ್ಯಂತೆ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ನೆಮ್ಮದಿ, ಶಾಂತಿ ಬೇಕೇ ಬೇಕು. ಬಹುಶಃ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು ಭಕ್ತಿ ಭಾವನೆಯನ್ನು ಮೂಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಮನಸ್ಸುಗಳನ್ನು ಬೆಸೆಯುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ವಾತಾವರಣ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಸ್ವಾರ್ಥಿ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಎಲ್ಲೋ ತನಗೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸ್ವಾರ್ಥ ಮನೋಚಿಂತನೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಹುಶಃ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೂಡ ಮೊದಲು ಮಾನವರಾಗಬೇಕು. ಮಾನವೀಯ ಮೌಲ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮೈಗೂಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಮಾನವೀಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ, ಸಮಾಜದ ಕಡೆ ನೋಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಇವತ್ತು ಭಾಳ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಜಗತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಳ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಗಲಭೆಗಳು, ಧರ್ಮ ಸಂಘರ್ಷಗಳು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅಶಾಂತಿ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಕೆಲವು ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇದಾಗಬಾರ್ದು. ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಅಂದಮೇಲೆ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ, ಬದುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಷ್ಟ ಸುಖ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಕಷ್ಟ ಸುಖವನ್ನು ಸಮನಾಗಿ ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಬಹುಶಃ ಅಂಥ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಭಾಳ ಜನೋಪಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿ ಉತ್ತಮ ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟದ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಗಳು ಭಾಳ ವೇಗವಾಗಿ ಬಹುಶಃ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದ ಅನೇಕ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ಭಾಳ ವೇಗವಾಗಿ ಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಆ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಗೆ ಒದಗಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ದೇಶಾದ್ಯಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವಹಿಸುವಂತೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ದಿನಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ನೋಡಬೇಕು ಅಂಥೇಳಿ, ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಈ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಒಂದು ಮುಕುಟಪ್ರಾಯದಂತೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಗಳ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಾನವೀಯ ಮೌಲ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮೈಗೂಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬದುಕುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ನನಗೆ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅವಕಾಶವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಂಥ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಗಳಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Thank you, sir. Shiv Shankar ji complimented the services being rendered through our various educational institutions in more than 20 districts of Karnataka and hospitals in India and abroad. He is grateful for the opportunity to be here today. In an age of turbulence and confusion, he feels great peace of mind in this beautiful environment. He concluded by extending his wishes for the growth of our institution. Thank you, sir. We would like to extend a token of our gratitude to both our guests, to Sri Govind Karjolji. And to Sri Shivashankar Reddy ji. May we now invite Sri B.N. Narsimurthy sir, Chancellor of Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, to address all of us.
Placing our loving salutations at the lotus feet of our most beloved Sadguru, dear and respected Sri Govind Karjolji, esteemed Sri Shivashankar Reddy Garu, brothers and sisters, very dear students, boys and girls. At the outset, I would like to congratulate Sri Keshav Prasad ji, who has taken over on himself propagating the message of the great scripture composed by Adi Shankaracharya, Saundarya Lahari. And today Swami inaugurated or released a program by which the talks disseminating the various aspects of Saundarya Lahari would be broadcast on our radio, Sanathana Vani. My congratulations to Dr. Keshav Prasad ji and his assistants. I would also like to congratulate Dr. Meenakshi ji that she composed Sri Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai Ashtottara Shatanamavali. It's a most wonderful contribution, I would say, because this Ashtottara Shatanamavali will have 108 names of Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, which our students, our devotees, our followers can chant every day. My congratulations to her. I would say that Sri Govind Karjolji is our benefactor. Now that our students from the Gulbarga campus are also here, I would like to remember how 3 years ago when he, as the minister in charge of irrigation, minor irrigation, visited the Gulbarga campus and Sadguru was also there. Once he heard from us that there was some shortage of water in the campus at Gulbarga. See, this does not happen. Generally, we submit the petition to the government and go behind. We have to approach many officers, then the minister, and finally whether the project would be granted or not still is a hanging question. But what Govind Karjolji did was, immediately he asked us to give a petition. On the spot, he ordered that water supply should be restored immediately and called the executive engineer of Gulbarga division and instructed him, you undertake the work immediately, and released also the funds required for it. I would like to tell him on behalf of our Gulbarga students that there is absolutely no water shortage in Gulbarga campus in the foreseeable future. Thank you very much, sir, for your benevolence. He also made a very important point. He said, Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai Ji is Shiva Swarupi. He is the embodiment of Shiva. That's what he stated. And he also stated that we have come here to seek his blessings. As Sadguru says, who is Shankara? Sham karoti iti Shankaraha. One who does good is Shankara. Whoever does good to the society selflessly. See, everybody works for one's own family. See, that is to be understood. And there are also people who work for their villages or towns with the motivation of winning the elections or adorning powers of positions of power. That is possible. But what Sadguru has been doing so selflessly definitely makes him a god. That is what Karjolji said. Thank you for that wonderful statement, and which we also are grateful that you came here and shared your thoughts with us. And Shivashankar Reddy Garu, he is our good friend and supporter for many decades, being our neighbor in the Gauribidnur district. He keeps coming here often, and whenever we approach him for help, when he was a minister, we approached him for many acts of help, which he immediately approved and did. Also, he also spoke about the hospital which has come up here, because Gauribidnur, from which he hails, is also part of the Chikballapur district. He said that we are grateful to Sadguru for the gift of the hospital without a billing counter where anybody and everybody can come and avail of the healthcare services. And thank you, Shivashankar Reddy Garu, for coming here and also speaking to our students and also devotees. With these words, I conclude and pray to Sadguru for his divine discourse on this wonderful evening. Thank you, Saira.
On the sacred occasion of Navaratri, as we celebrate the idea of doing good to the world mentioned by Kajolji and elaborated by Narasimhamurthy ji about the one who does good is verily God. And that is the idea of celebrating goodness. Also we have Shivashankar Reddy Garu, a close associate, well-wisher of our institutions from this district. To both of them, we extend our heartfelt welcome and gratitude for being here today. Sri Allama Prabhu, in one of his vachanas, says, Pranati ide, Patti ide, Jyoti belaguvude, Taila illada prabhatan elliyado, ಗುರುವಿದೆ ಲಿಂಗವಿದೆ ಶಿಷ್ಯನ ಸುಜ್ಞಾನೋದಯ ಅಂಕುರಿಸಿದ ನಕ್ಕರ ಭಕ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿಯದು ಸೋಹಂ ಎಂಬುದ ಕೇಳಿ ದಾಸೋಹವ ಮಾಡದಿದ್ದೊಳೆ ಅತಿಗಳೇವಾ ಗುಹೇಶ್ವರ ಅಂತ. There might be the lamp, there might be also the wick in the lamp, but without the oil, can there be light? He asks. Guru might be there. Linga also might be there, that is, God also might be there. But for wisdom to happen in the Shishya, where is the bhakti, where is the devotion, without which it cannot happen. Similarly, if we keep chanting Soham, Soham, it means we keep chanting mantras and perform rituals and austerities, but we do not do dasoha, which is to serve others with the idea of servitude, then is there a possibility to cross over this ocean of samsara and redeem ourselves? Not at all. The great visionaries, spiritualists and saints of this country have always encouraged us to do seva. Dasoha in Karnataka is the word for doing seva. And all these saints taught the people to do dasoha, whether it's Anno Dasoha, Akshara Dasoha, or here is Arogya Dasoha, Jnana Dasoha. In some way or the other, be a servant of the society. And that is why I keep saying, if you want to be a good leader, you have to be a good servant first. ನಾಯಕರಾಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮೊದಲು ಸೇವಕರಾಗಬೇಕು ನಾವು. The one who serves only can lead. And amongst these two and many more who have visited us, we have found servants of the society. They are leaders definitely, but they are also servants of the society. And our scripture also tells us how should service be done. Service be done then and there. You should not wait for another time to do good to the world. When you have an opportunity to do good, do it then and there. And it is just a coincidence that I was in Gulbarga campus, and that day the water that comes from the bore well was very dirty. So in all our washrooms and everywhere there was all brown muddy water that was coming. An event was taking place, the inauguration of a new block, and Govindji was the chief guest who had come to inaugurate the block. And I was a little upset that morning that we have invited so many guests, they are living in the guest rooms, and if this is the kind of water we are going to give them, all muddy and soiled water, what kind of image and impression of the institute would that be, that to a university? Of course, villages and rural area come with their own challenges, we cannot help that. But I think due to heavy rains, the water had become very muddy. And then we just expressed to him that you help us. Then and there he helped us. I was told within a couple of days the work started, it was completed, and the water was delivered to the campus, the clean drinking water came, and since then there has never been a shortage. We need such sevakas as our nayakas, who are not waiting for another day to do seva. I've seen people, when I tell them do this is a good thing to do, they will say, okay, after the Sankranti we will start. That's a good time to start good work, anta. For bad thing, nobody sees any time, Muhurta, Sankranti, or whatever Kranti. They immediately want to do it. When Swartha comes, you do not want to see time and place and situation. Then and there we engage in it. But when Niswartha Seva is the opportunity, everybody starts thinking, maybe I should do it another time, another day, and things like that. Whereas I tell, it should be the other way around. When you have an opportunity to do good, you don't have to look at calendar, don't have to call a priest, don't have to go through the nakshatras and time. Do it then and there, without delaying even a moment, because mind is very fickle. It may flip and may decide not to do it later, and you might have missed a great opportunity to do good to the world. Whereas when bad things come, when selfish thoughts come, when there are greedy thoughts, you have to ask yourself, should I really do it at all? That is the time when you should actually go to the priest and take a muhurta, just in case I get into trouble after doing wrong. How do I save myself from that? For good things, you don't have to see time and calendar and date. Good has to be done then and there. That is the idea of goodness. So those who really are good, those who really believe in goodness, they must do good then and there. When the thought arises, let me do this, they should not think twice. They should not postpone the thought. They should not procrastinate. They should do that good thought then and there. This is the idea of doing goodness. Our scriptures say, Shraddhaya deyam, Ashraddhaya adeyam, Shriya deyam, Hriya deyam, Bhiya deyam, Samvida deyam. Give for the sake of giving with Shraddha. Shraddha is a very deep word, which means with complete involvement, with sincere feelings, without ego. There are so many good qualities in that one word, Shraddha. We don't have a translatable or whatever equivalent in any other language of Shraddha. As at best, two words, faith and sincerity combined may do some justice to the word Shraddha. But when you give with that Shraddha. If you do not have Shraddha, do not give. Ashraddhaya adeyam. Do not give for show off or exhibitionism or wanting to get some acknowledgement out of it or gain something out of it. Do not do that. That's insincere. They say when the right hand gives, the left hand should not know. When left hand gives, right hand should not know. That is the kind of giving that our scriptures prescribe. Then say Shriyadayam, give in abundance, give as per the need of the person. If the person is hungry for 2 chapatis, try to give 2 chapatis for that. Don't give 1 chapati thinking anyway I am giving at least half of it, let somebody give the half. Why should I only spend all the things? This kind of thinking also is not to be entertained. Shriyadayam. Shriyadayam, give with humility. How are you able to give? Because God has given you more. That is why you are able to pass it on to somebody who does not have enough. So this humility, I am so much more blessed because God has trusted me with His resources, with His wealth, with His abilities, and He has given me this. Let me share it with somebody who does not have enough. Bhiyadayam, give with the fear. And I interpreted, give with the fear that what I am giving may not be sufficient, may not be enough for the person whom I am giving to. With that fear you give, not with the fear that I am giving, what about me, everything gets over, then Bhiyadayam. What about me? That is not the fear. Fear is, am I giving enough? Will that be sufficient for the person? Will his problem be solved? Am I being of any sense when I am giving him? This fear should be there, not the fear of one's own survival. That should not be the fear. And Samvidadeyam, give with the knowledge of whom you are giving, why you are giving, how it will be utilized. All this knowledge also should be there. Just for the sake of it, do not give, because it could be misused. If it's misused, that karma also will come back to you. So give, but give with the knowledge of whom you are giving. Dasoha, when you do, of course, without discrimination, but with the knowledge of why you are giving. Discrimination is not allowed in our scriptures. I want to give this particular people because they belong to my whatever caste and belong to my land and my place. No. Give to everybody with equal, even-handedness. But give with the knowledge of whom you are giving and why you are giving, what they will do with it. If they misuse it, it will also be a trouble to you because karma will come back to you through that. So as much as possible, I am not saying everywhere you can do all the things, but as much as possible try to do. But more importantly than all the types of things, you give and give immediately, give with the complete surrender and sincerity. This is most important. Our scriptures have always been emphasizing on charity as one of the cardinal virtues. And as I was mentioning the other day in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Yajna dana tapak karma natyajyam karyameva tad yajna dana tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam. Why should you do yajna? Why should you dana? Why should you do tapas? Because these are the things which purify us. And as we mentioned in the morning, purity will lead us to divinity. When we do yajna, we should not do yajna like how our Sati's father did. Prajapati did, Daksha Prajapati. To show off his capacities and capabilities, he put up a big yajna, but he intentionally did not invite Shiva to the yajna. He invited all the other 23 son-in-laws, but for his own other daughter, Sati, he did not invite Shiva at all because he was not happy with Shiva. He was a person with exhibitionism. He wanted to see wealthy son-in-laws with palaces to live in, with jewels and big bank accounts and things like that. But Shiva was a pauper, a mendicant. He never kept him. Somebody told me sometime back, Swami, they are so rich, but they don't give. I said, that is why they are rich. If they give away, how will they be rich? So I look at richness from another viewpoint. It's nothing great for me. Like for Shiva, he never kept anything for himself. He always gave. That is why he had nothing other than one bull and one trident. What else was his possession? Sat in the icy, cold caves of Himalayas and wore just a piece of skin of leopard and one snake for the ornament and one trident, which is his astra, to, I think, ward away those who are evildoers and people who are mischief mongers in the Himalayas. And what else he had his possession? Nothing. The moon also, he supported the moon. The Ganges also he brought for the sake of the people. That was not his possession. What did he own after all? And Nandi offered himself in service to Shiva. He did not capture Nandi and enslave him to do his service. So he had nothing for himself. That is why Daksha Prajapati never liked Shiva. He's what kind of son-in-law? I can't even show him around that I have a son-in-law like him, who has nothing, wears nothing. And look at, he lives between all these ghosts and goblins, rides one bull, no car, no nothing. And doesn't even groom himself well. Look at this jata, juta and all these bhasma and things like that. So he never liked Shiva because he was a materialistic, worldly king, Daksha Prajapati. But Parvati or Sati had the devotion for Shiva. She saw the spiritual beauty of Shiva. She did not see the material beauty. And she followed Shiva and married Shiva and shifted to the caves of Himalayas in Kailash, away from her father's opulence and big palaces and all the wealth and comforts, because she wanted God. She didn't want the wealth of the world. So she followed. But one wrong deed on her part. She thought that she should go to her father's yajnam, even though she was not invited. It is said, do not go anywhere uninvited. It is not good. But she went saying, when Shiva told her, see, what is the need to go there anyway? We have not been invited. It is not good to go. She said, it is only my father's home. I am entitled to go wherever I want, whenever I want there. Nobody should stop me. And she went. She did not listen to Shiva in that one incident only. That either is my father, my mother, my sisters are coming. All of them we will meet and we will talk and things like that. Let me go. So finally Shiva hesitantly relented. And the result of it was, when she went there, she was not welcomed. The sisters didn't talk to her. Father didn't talk to her. Only mother received her with some, because mothers have a heart. So she only talked to Sati. And Sati felt very offended and humiliated. On top of that, Daksha Prajapati did not stop at that. He started speaking ill about Shiva. Unable to bear that, Sati said, I have done a great dishonor to my husband by coming to this sabha where he is being humiliated. And I should not live anymore, for my body has endured this humiliation to my husband. It doesn't deserve to live anymore, and she immolates herself. That is when the news reaches Shiva, and he sends Veerabhadra. And Daksha Prajapati receives his due punishment, and his head is chopped off. And that is when the others, everybody, all the people who are there, gods, goddesses, they get very worried. And because Daksha Prajapati was the king, he was after all ruling the place, and he was the giver, he was the provider for the people. How could he die? What would happen? Everybody cried and finally besieged Shiva, and he relented. See, again Karuna Shankar. He immediately forgot his anger. He forgave Daksha Prajapati, and then he replaced his head with the head of a goat, let's say. Because sacrificial goats would be there in every of those yajnas in those times. So he put the goat's head and replaced, probably that was one of those very successful head transplants that happened in those days. And I don't think it's a joke. I'm sure there is a science behind it. Our Upanishads and our Puranas will just say it like a fairy tale, but I'm sure there was a science behind it with which the head was transplanted. And then Daksha got the head of a goat. So they say when we chant our Chamakam, Daksha Prajapati, after being a goat, he cannot speak like other humans. So the only sound he can produce is meh. That's why Shamcha meh, Yashcha meh, in everything meh. The only thing that he could add was meh. Me, that's all he could think of. This is the story from the Puranas. But what it goes to say is that when you don't listen to God, you lose God, you lose the world, you lose everything. But when you follow God, in God's footsteps, you get the world, you get God, both. I always say when the story of the princess who went to the birthday of the prince. This was an ordinary girl at that point in time. She was just a pauper. But everybody was invited. All girls of the kingdom were invited to the prince's birthday. And the prince had kept everything on display, all his wealth, all the valuables, and told anybody can pick up anything that they want from this exhibition, because today is my birthday and I am ready to give anything that anybody wants. So all the people greedily went and grabbed whatever came to their hands in that hall. But one little girl young girl who never picked up anything. So the prince, who was hiding he was in a disguise, he was watching this girl, thinking, why is she not taking anything? Is there nothing that attracts her? Is there nothing that interests her? So out of curiosity, he went to this girl and told, I've been watching you. You haven't taken anything. You've been just standing here for such a long time. Is there nothing that is of interest to you? Then she said, that which interests me is not on display. I am looking for that. And this disguised prince asked, what is that? The princess kept everything. Why are you not picking him? She said, but the prince himself is not on the display. I want the prince. I don't want his wealth. I don't want his belongings. Because if I get prince, then I will get all these things any which ways. Then the prince reveals himself and says, here I am. Nobody asked for me. Everybody asked for my wealth. And they went back satisfied with, this foolishness of shortchanging themselves. And they felt they have become wealthy today. But you are the only one who has asked for me. Here I am giving myself to you. And now she becomes the princess or the queen, and the kingdom also belongs to her. The idea is that bhakti elli edo, guru ide, lingavide, everything is there. Nice ashram is there, good rituals are there, all scriptures are being taught, all nice things are happening. But do you have the bhakti to ask only for God in the clutter of all the worldly things? And look for Him alone. When everything else is on a platter, you reject all of it because you want to select God above everything. When you do that, you get God. Not just God, you get the whole world also, because everything belongs to God. The same Sati, reincarnated as Parvati, they say. And she this time was very clear. She did not want anything. She only wanted Shiva. And so she went and did a lot of penance. Narada advised her, because he realized that Shiva, Parvati must come back together again. They are the father and mother of the whole world, and their energies must stay together. This separation had caused tremendous amount of disarray to the universe, because Shiva went into a samadhi sthiti and he stopped taking care of the affairs of the world, and then everything fell into chaos. It was necessary for him to be available to people, and only Parvati could do that. So again she was born. She did penance, they say, for several years, thousands of years, and that is how this Shailaputri, Brahmacharini and all that, we have heard that story. And finally she won Shiva only by discarding all her physical beauty, but only aiming for the spiritual beauty, which is what would please Shiva. Nothing else would please Shiva. So with that bhakti, when she prayed, she ultimately attained Shiva, and Shiva and Parvati reunited as Ardhanarishwara. This is when Kalyanam happened to the world. Everybody started becoming prosperous, and as mother and father, they started looking after the whole world. So when the same Sati thought of the world and for a moment forgot what Shiva is, or who Shiva is and what he wanted, she lost Shiva, she lost the world also. The same Sati, when she reincarnated as Parvati, and she rejected the world and went only for Shiva, she only wanted Shiva, she attained Shiva, also she became Jagannatha. She got the world also. This is a lesson in spirituality for all of us. When we ask for God, not only God, we will get everything that is needed for us in this world. In fact, we don't have to ask after that, because God will take care of everything. But when we ask for the world, God would think in his mind, look at this devotee. He has learned nothing. What is he asking for after all? He's asking for pebbles when I'm here to give gems. He's asking for mud when I'm here to give diamonds. Because his buddhi is only so limited. He thinks his yoga kshema lies only in little things, petty things of the world. Yoga means get it, kshema means preserve it. Accumulate and preserve it. That's all is the whole thing is going on in this person's mind. Whereas I am here to give myself away to this person. I am available. Ask for me and you will get everything else. And that is the idea of the reunion of Shiva and Parvati, which is what we celebrate during these festivities. As Mahagauri today, we celebrated, she is the very embodiment of purity. Gaura means fairness or brightness, which is a symbolic way of saying she is very pure. Not just pure, Mahagauri, very, very pure, greatly pure. That alone can be the Ardhangini of Shiva. Only purity can be the better half of divinity. You can't have worldliness there. So this purity of Gauri made her the consort of Shiva and Gauri Shankara. That's what we say. So this is the beauty of our stories. There's so much to learn from all of it. When we also develop this kind of purity, when we reject everything of the world because we want only God and nothing else, we will also become one with God. Just now the girls chanted from Kathopanishad. That is a very beautiful stanza which comes when Yama teaches Nachiketa. He says, Shreyascha preyascha manushya metat tav samparitya vivinakti dhira shreyo vidhiro vi preyaso vrinite preyo hi mando yoga kshema vrinite. Yoga kshema I just mentioned. Two paths come in front of us every time there is a fork in the path. One is Shreyo Marga, another is Preyo Marga. Shreyo Marga is that which is good, which is the right thing to do. It may be difficult. Preyo Marga is easy, pleasant, what is attractive, but it is not the right thing. We are always confronted with this dilemma in our lives, to choose between what is right and good versus what is easy and pleasant. And most of the time, the fools, Preyo hi mando, manda buddhi, fools, yoga kshema advranite. They choose the easy and the pleasant path, thinking this is good for them. This is where their yoga kshema lies. This is where they'll be happy and they'll be okay. This is the idea with which they choose the easy and the pleasant path. But Preyo, this is Preyo, but Shreyo hi dhiraha, abhiprayaso vranite. The dhira, the discriminating one, sees the difference between the two and chooses always the right path, the good path, even if it's difficult, inconvenient or not uncomfortable, yet he chooses the right path. And that is how he is able to attain the highest truth, says Yamadharmaraja. See, in our life, this choice between the right and the pleasant is always there. All pleasant need not be right, all right need not be pleasant. We have to discriminate. See, when Sati did not discriminate, when Shiva said, don't go, once Shiva has said, where is the question of arguing? He has said, he has seen something, he has said. But that time, Preyo, she wanted to be with her sisters, she wanted to be with her mother and father, and she felt entitled to the yajna. So she went. She chose Preyo over Shreyo and ended up in this issue. Whereas when she was born as Parvati, she also was born again to a king, but she rejected kingdom. She said, I will go. She was born to Himavan. She left that and told, I will go to pray and perform tapas, yajna dana tapakarma. I will perform tapas to attain Shiva. I do not want anything else in life. So she chose the Shreyo Marga. Despite whatever the difficulties that came for a princess like her, she still persisted and finally won Shiva's heart and became one with Shiva. So this is the method of spirituality. Morning I mentioned, you begin with Trikarna Shuddhi. What you believe in, that is what you should speak. What you speak, that is what you should do. Then you will command tremendous power at your disposal. That is how, even if you think of bad things, say bad things and do bad things, there also you can be very powerful. Look at Hitler's and all these great Rakshasas. Are they not powerful? They were very powerful. They did penance, they also did tapas. But for what reason? To gain some powers. That we can defeat Indra, we can get heaven, we can become wealthy, all kinds of desires. They also attained all that by doing tapas. They also did yajnas, they also did karma, they also did. But what did they do for? They did for Preyo Marga, for Yoga Kshema. The good people, spiritual people also do yajna dana tapa. But for what sake? For Shreyo Marga, for the good, not only of themselves, but everybody is good. This is the idea of our Indian spirituality, to do good, to strive to do the right always, not deviate from this path of goodness because of distractions of the world. And remember always that above everything is God, and God is the most valuable possession. You must have one. And if you have God, you have everything. If you have the object, you have the shadow too. Likewise, if you have king, you have the kingdom too. If you have God, you have the world too. Now don't start thinking that, okay, if I attain God, I'll attain all the wealth of the world. Not wealth. When you have God, you will get what you need to get. That's all. Not more, not less. He knows, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, Ye Jana Paryupasate, Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. You think of me all the time, you serve me all the time, without any other considerations, your Yoga Kshema becomes my responsibility. I'll bear it for you. Vahamyaham is like carrying it on your shoulder. You remember that poem is there when two sets of footprints were there on the sand, and suddenly there was one set of footprints which were missing. So this man asked God, all the time you were walking with me, what happened when I was in the most difficult times of my life? You weren't there. There were only one set of footprints. He said that was the set of footprints that belonged to me because I was carrying you at that point in time. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. I will take the responsibility of those who surrender to me, who want me and me alone and nothing else. They become my responsibility. So this is the way of God's. When we don't get our prayers answered, we are praying for something wrong. That's what we should think. We are not praying in the right way. But if you are praying for the right things in the right way, God will take care of it. So I always say, whatever happens, whenever it happens, however it happens, as and when it happens, keep only one prayer in your mind. I want God and God alone. All other things may happen, may not happen, but God knows best. I shall trust Him and I will go by that trust, by that faith. Everything else, if it comes to me, if it's good for me, let it come. If it doesn't come to me also, it is good for me because God has decided it that way. For me, God alone is my prayer, God alone is what I want. This is bhakti. Guru vide, linga vide, shishyada, sugyanaya, sugyanodaya, ankurisad nakkara, bhakti yalliyedo, it says. If bhakti is not there, then bhakti is para-bhakti. I want God for God's sake alone. I don't want God so that I can get all the other things in the world. That's not the idea. I want God for God's sake. Let that be our prayer during these auspicious times, because during these auspicious times, when you chant God's name, they are there. They are always there. And evening time, Tatastu Devatas are there, they say in our India. That if whatever you pray for, they keep telling Tatastu, Tatastu, Tatastu all the time. So just in case our prayer means that Tatastu, it gets fulfilled, it seems. So don't say wrong things, don't think of wrong things. You always pray for the right things, and the right thing to pray for is, I want God for God's sake. Everything else will follow. Everything else will follow. If it's meant for me, as a father, as a mother, Jagadat Pitarao Vande, Parvati Parmeshwaro is the mother and father for the whole world. My mother, father also is Parvati Parmeshwara only. They'll take care of me. I don't have to beg like a beggar in front of their door. Whatever they need to give me, they'll give. I just want to be good devotee to them. That's all I pray for. So this is the kind of celebrations. Today Saundarya Lahari also has been launched as a podcast. It's a beautiful composition of Sri Adi Shankaracharya on Mother. Very deep, very philosophical, very Advaitic also. You have to go step by step, of course. You can't just understand like this by reading Sanskritam. You may think you have understood, but you might not have. So there's a good description, and also it's been sung, and then you hear the description and the meaning and the essence of all those slokas. It's a great seva by Keshavji and by Meenakshiji and the team. Congratulations to them. And this is Jnanadana. We should do that. In Shiva Stotram it comes, do Jnanadana. If you can't do anything, just give your Jnana to others. That's a great seva, so congratulations to them also. And to Meenakshiji also for her devotion. She composed this Ashtottar Nama. I corrected a few things because some names were not matching my descriptions. She, out of her devotion, this is how poetry is, you exaggerate things, right? So I told, please make it more practical, Ashtottar Nama. I didn't want to say no to her because, obviously it has been done, Patram, Pushpam, Palam, poem. Whatever, even Ashtotram she has done with Bhakti, I'll accept it, I said. I won't disappoint you, but just remove one or two names which do not fit my description. You put some other names, and she came and told me she has changed those two names with, so I think, Vishwanayakaya and Paramahamsaya. She says, before that some Shiv Shakti, Swarupaya and all that she had written. I told, not required, don't create controversies with God. I am not here to compete with anybody. Just recognize for what I am doing and what is my personality. With those names you put, do not have to over-exaggerate or kind of, imagine it. It may be true or it may not be true, but for common purpose, that there will be more descriptive names. So she also, out of her devotion, has offered, so I have accepted that. And I said, whatever is given with bhakti is always accepted. Has Krishna not eaten the skin of the banana when Vidura was offering while throwing away the fruit? Because Vidura was so lost in offering to Krishna that he offered the peel of the banana and threw the fruit away. And Krishna ate the peel for his dinner. So this is how God is. Shabari is, whatever you call it, half-eaten berries of Shabari. When Lakshmana said, Rama, how can you eat that? She's after a tribal woman. How could you eat what she has eaten already? It's below your dignity. He said there is nothing called dignity in devotion. She has offered it with love and devotion, and I will eat it. So he happily ate all the things of Shabri. So likewise, anything done with bhakti, God will accept it. If bhakti is not there, simply it's show, pomp and show, it will never reach God. It will never reach God. So do everything with bhakti, and the greatest bhakti that you can have is to ask God for God alone. If at all God asks you, what do you want? Our reply should be, I want you alone. I don't want anything else. If you are mine, I have everything. I don't need anything else. So this is how devotees live in true joy all the time, because they are immersed in that bhava of bhakti. May you all develop such bhakti. Once again, I want to thank both the dignitaries who have come here today and have spent time with us. One or two questions I can take till some 10 minutes are there. ಅವ್ರು ಡೈಲಿ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಸಮಾಧಾನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ.
Swami, what is the reason for refraining from pujas and festivals for a year when a family member passes on? Are these departed souls included when we pray for the welfare of all beings?
When a person in the family passes away, we perform certain rituals first. You know that 13 days of rituals we perform, and as per our Shastras, almost for 10 days, first 10 days, the soul is still around, because they have lived there for such a long time. Some attach, unless they are Brahmagyanis, then it's a different matter altogether. But if they are just regular people, the attachment to the family and people always remains. So we try to do every ritual to ensure that they are made to understand that their term is over, they must leave the place and they must not revisit us. Because they must move on to Pitraloka or whichever Loka they've been assigned to, and from there probably to the next Yoni or to Swargaloka, whichever way they have been kind of blessed with. So we don't want them to come and interfere with us. But there is a good chance that because of recent demise and lot of attachments and lot of lingering thoughts and desires, that soul might continuously be attracted to this place because of somebody missing the person, or somebody still not being able to overcome the grief of it, because of which there might be interference from them, or they might come when we are doing anything, they might be attracted by these rituals and they may come to our place, and that may not be a very healthy thing. That is why we delay these Mangala Karyas at that point in time, not because their coming will disturb the event or it is be a curse or it's some kind of negativity, just that we don't want to disturb their progress, spiritual progress, by doing things and attracting them. So we generally keep the house very silent for one full year, so that any of these departed souls are not attracted by anything that is happening in the house. The 13th day ritual happens, after that no ritual, whatever the monthly, all those are Pindadanas only, everything is to help them to get rid of this attachment. After 1 year we perform a Shraddha ritual to complete that full cycle of 365 days and ensure that the soul does not get attracted again to this family. But in between, if you are doing something, let's say a grandfather passed away, he had a great desire to see his grandson married. Now grandfather has passed away, marriage never happened, what can we do? Now his soul has gone up to the Pitralokas, but this desire is lingering still, that my grandson's wedding, like that. Now if you start performing grandson's wedding in a month or two, it will get attracted back to the house and it will linger around. And that is not good for their ultimate spiritual journey. That is why we do not do anything which will attract them back to the place.
Swami, sometimes after experiencing blissful states from spiritual activities, we feel the need to engage in mundane activities to feel grounded. Why does this happen?
Maybe this is the initial stage of spiritual activities, when you put spiritual activities in one bucket and worldly activities in another bucket. Then you feel that, okay, I have had enough of spirituality, let me have some world now. Change of taste like that. But this is for those who are still very early and haven't understood the essence of whole thing. For me, spirituality is everything. Eating, sleeping, as a Krishna says, Yat karoshi, juhoshi, dashnasi. Whatever is you are doing, it's for my sake. So spirituality is in everything. But I understand the context in which you are saying that you have participated in 10 days of yajna. Suddenly you feel overwhelmed, you feel this is too much and I need to go back and eat some pizza, burger, ruin my body, mind for some time at least. Too much of purity, not able to take. That is because of your vasanas, nothing else. Your Purva Janma vasanas as well as this Janma vasanas are all very strong. So they will always, this Tamoguna is there, no? It will always struggle. Because the Bhagavad Gita also says, Sometimes tamoguna overpowers rajoguna, sometimes rajoguna overpowers tamoguna, sometimes sattva-guna overpowers both, sometimes both overpower sattva-guna. This play happens in our minds all the time, depending on which is the dominant guna and what is the situation in which you are. So these vasanas are there which want to drag us back to our old ways. That is why we feel, oh, we should also change our activity and go back to doing our regular things. But that is not the right thing. The right thing is to change your attitude altogether. Attitude that everything should be spiritual. Now you have experienced this yajna, you feel very good about it, you feel elevated, but suddenly you also feel, I don't know, spiritually fatigued or something. You say, I need to take some rest or change this thing and I must go and enjoy. But what you are essentially doing, the water pot that you have filled, you are making holes in it. That's all you are doing. Then all the water is going to leak out after some time. Again, what pot will be empty. Then suddenly you will be tired of worldliness and say, enough of worldliness, let me have some spiritual activity, let me make my way to Muddenahalli, and you will come back again to fill the pot and then make holes again. What is the point is the question. So rather you change the attitude and lower your vasanas, instincts, and reduce the tamo and rajo guna through the sattva guna. But the best thing to do, as I said, is yajnat karma samudbhava. Every activity should be yajna. Why am I studying? So that I can offer it as a service to God. When I am finished with my education, I will be of use to the society, and that way I will serve God. Why am I singing? Why am I dressing up? Why am I eating? Everything is for God. Incorporate that idea in everything, then you don't have to necessarily come for a yajna and feel better, or leave the yajna to feel even better. That all these ideas are very, as I said, very immature ideas. Only in the initial days you feel like that. But once you start understanding and absorbing this spirituality, you will be able to appreciate that everything can be seen from spiritual point of view, and you won't feel this kind of need to shift between worldly activities and spiritual activities.
Swami, how to view the apparent cruelty in society today and accept it as the divine will and not get disturbed by it?
Cruelty has to be defined as to what is cruelty, you see. When like a lion kills a deer and eats it, and the deer has baby deer or fawn, it looks like cruelty to you, but then that's a part of the natural process. The lion has to eat the deer to survive. So cruelty is a very subjective thing in that way. But in general, what you might be saying is that in society, many atrocities happen, many unlawful activities happen, criminal things happen, people hurt each other, harm each other. That cruelty, can it be stopped, or can it be accepted as God's will? No, you see, what the cruelty or the harm or violence that comes as a natural process is a part of the Srishti Sthiti Laya. That you have to accept as divine will and do nothing about it. Now don't go and preach the lion, stop eating deer and all, eat grass instead and all. It's not going to eat. It will die if it eat grass with indigestion. That's been created that way, so that is meant for them. But humans have got this higher intelligence to choose between a violent or a non-violent way, to choose between law or unlawful way. Lions and animals don't have a choice. They just go by their instincts, which is what has been given to them by God. So if that is cruel or violent, there is nothing wrong in it. But human beings have been given discrimination. This buddhi is there to choose. And that choice, when we make wrong, then it's a responsibility of everybody to set things right. Now you may say, I have no capacity to stop a war happening somewhere far away in the Middle East by sitting here in Muddenahalli. What can I do about it? First, you do not be a part of any war, if at all that happens in your context of your life, that you don't create fights and conflicts. Stay away from that and do not instigate people. That is another kind of a violence, cruelty you can avoid. Second, what you can do is, if anybody in your circle of influence is also very violent or cruel, try to talk them into being better person, being more kind and compassionate. By your own practice, you can influence them. That is another way. Third, if nothing else you can do, you must pray to God. That God, please let the good sense prevail. See, if you say everything is God's will and the cruelty, see, that is only for Brahmagyani it is given. Only Brahmagyanis are entitled to think like that. Those who are not Brahmagyanis, they are not allowed to enter that realm and make these philosophies as their own philosophies. No, it doesn't work. If only a Brahmagyani who can see through the maze of things and who can see through the illusion and drama, such a Brahmagyani is allowed to make whatever statements like this. Everything is divine will and things like that. For all others, there is a niti, riti, you have to follow that. And that is to bring harmony in the society. First, you don't be a part of such cruelty. You don't be an initiator or propagator of such cruelty. 2, do not allow others in your circle of influence to participate in such things. 3rd, nothing can be done, pray. Pray for the welfare of all. When we are doing these homas, yajnas, we are praying. You may say, this prayer is not going to stop the things over there. How do you know? Some good sense may prevail through the good vibrations that are being generated, and that may change somebody's mind. As we know, so many things happen in so many minds all the time. But these energies, these vibrations will reach to every corner of the universe. That's why we have always inculcated or incorporated these yajnas and prayers in our daily rituals, because somewhere it does affect the people anywhere. And when you focus and target your prayers for that particular reason, it goes there like an arrow, straight. And that is how mantras and everything is targeted for a particular. That's why sankalpas are made. When you start a yajna, you make a sankalpa, because you want this yajna to be used, or the powers of this yajna to be used to achieve that particular goal only. So when you do sankalpa, let there not be war in the world, and do yajna for that, somehow it will also have an effect on the universe. I'm not saying everything will come to a standstill immediately, but like we say, when you switch off the fan, because of the motion that was already in the fan, it takes a while to stop. The blade stops slowly, it immediately doesn't stop. Like that, when you pray, immediately you may not see the result of it, but definitely you have put in the effort to stop wrong things from happening. So that you can still do is the most important thing. One question.
Swami has to take care of millions of corporal and non-corporal beings. Does Swami think of us only when we think of him, or irrespective of our remembering, Swami thinks of us?
You have to think first, what is Swami? Define that for yourself. See, Swami, if you think he's a person with a limitedness of time, space, and things like that, like every one of us, then you will be always confused. Because then how can one person think of millions of people at the same time, or look after millions of people at the same time? So as a physical entity, not possible. All these that you're asking, do I think of you, think of me? No. But whenever Swami's mind is not in the physical self, but it is connected to the consciousness, Daiva Prajna we call it, right? There is Jiva Prajna and there is Daiva Prajna. In Jiva Prajna, all this is not valid. Can you know what I am doing? Do you know that I am thinking about you? Are you also thinking about me? Are you looking after the universe? No, this all doesn't apply when it is in Jiva Prajna state. But the same mind, when it elevates to Daiva Prajna, it gets connected to the entire universe. It's like you log into the internet, whatever information you want, it comes to you. So that is the Daiva Prajna part of it. In Daiva Prajna, all this is possible. The only issue is that Daiva Prajna is not like an activity. Okay, now I'll get into Daiva Prajna, now I'll find out who is thinking of me, and I also think of no. It's a spontaneous flow of consciousness. Whatever is relevant for that time comes to Swami. Think like that. Whatever is relevant for that devotee or that person at that point in time, if their prayers are intense, if their need is very immediate or urgent, according to the intensity, response happens. Many people write to me, you came in my dream and you told me this is what you should have done, you should do at this point of time, that will solve your problem, they tell me. And next morning somehow they reach out to me saying thank you for the message and I am now clear about what I need to do. Now they ask me, did you really come in my dream? I tell them, the physical me never came in your dream, because I was in my bed, in my room, happily sleeping. I did not go and disturb anybody's sleep. But yes, you prayed to that one divine consciousness which I am representing at this point in time. And that divine consciousness, which is the ultimate supreme source of all things, including knowledge, it knows that your heart needs some solace at this point of time, your mind needs some direction. Therefore, it will take my form and come to you at that point in time and do what is required. You as a devotee would definitely want to think that I as physical self also know everything that is you are going through. But the truth of all truths is that at physical level, all are limited. At spiritual level, when I am elevated in that state of consciousness, so many things I get to know. In fact, it's very difficult to survive in that state, because you just get to know everything, and then it's very difficult to be loving and kind to some people. You know what I mean. So initially I loved this divine consciousness. find out what is happening in which loka, who is doing what, and you get to know here and there and you feel very elevated. But then I gave up. I said, I do not want to get into that. If that divine consciousness, that supreme self, that Brahman wants this to happen at this point in time, through me, it will happen. And whichever way it happens, physically it happens, or it happens at another plane, in another energy, body or form, it will happen. If I need to know about it, I'll get to know. If I need not know about it, I would not know. So that is how it works. This is the plain truth. But do I have access to that state? Yes, I have access to that state. Do I keep accessing it all the time? No, I don't do this all the time. Do I get to know when I have to access that? Yes, I get to know when I have to access that and do things at that state as well. So these are all something that are internal, and that's exactly what I was saying, that the consciousness which plays the entire game of this universe, that guides everything, everyone. That's why Tena Vina Trinamapina Chalati they say. Because of this reason they say. It's not that without God's will a blade of grass cannot move. You might just pick up and move it and say, see, it's moving. Not like that. That idea that supreme consciousness governs everything is the idea of whatever you are asking. Do you get to know? Yes, if you intensely think of me, in the sense, there is this like earlier telephone exchanges are there, or post office is there, like central post office will be there. So your letter reaches there, from there it gets redirected to me, I get to know like that. And similarly, if I want to convey something, I send the reply back through that mechanism of the universe, the consciousness, it reaches back to you. So now there's no direct reaching to you, or you reaching me. It goes through this consciousness mechanism, and finally it gets answered in whichever way. Okay. So again, conveying our gratitude to both the guests. We have a small program admele. Tanushree Shankarji, who is continuing the parampara of her father-in-law, Uday Shankarji and Amla Shankarji, who were great artists, both in terms of stage artists who perform in various venues. They brought a new style of dance, the Uday Shankar style of dance, which was a combination of some classical and some contemporary, but it's more like an expressionistic example of dance form. And you would be seeing some of the compositions now by their team, and Tanushree Shankarji continues this parampara, and I always invite them and their troupe from Calcutta to come here and perform every year. So they'll be performing today. Let's enjoy that.
We will now have a short break for 10 minutes, after which we shall reconvene for this evening's cultural program.